Dominic Cummings has launched an explosive attack on Boris Johnson, accusing his former boss of falling far below the standards of competence and integrity the country deserves. The former special advisor to the Prime Minister has let rip at Downing Street in a statement posted on his blog. In sensational comments, he accuses Mr. Johnson of unethical, foolish, possibly illegal behavior as Prime Minister and of maliciously authorizing anonymous briefings against him to the media. It comes after last night a number 10 source accused the Brexit mastermind of leaking damaging information about Mr. Johnson in an attempt to jeopardize his premiership. Messages from the Prime Minister's mobile phone have been sent to the press in recent weeks. Plans for a second lockdown last November were also leaked to journalists ahead of an official announcement, forcing Mr. Johnson to hastily arrange a televised press conference to announce the plans to the public. Separate inquiries to find those responsible for the leaks are being carried out by the Cabinet Office, but a Downing Street source last night accused Mr. Cummings of being the mole. Dominic is engaged in systematic leaking, a source told The Times. We are disappointed about that. We are concerned about messages from private WhatsApp groups which have very limited circulation. Refuting the accusations this afternoon, he said the claims were false, adding, "Issues concerning COVID or the PM's conduct should not be handled as number 10 has handled them over the past 24 hours. Mr. Cummings said he is happy to meet with the Cabinet Secretary and to have his phone searched as proof he did not leak Mr. Johnson's messages. He added, "If the PM did send them to me, as he is claiming, then he will be able to show the Cabinet Secretary on his own phone when they were sent to me." It emerged earlier this week the British entrepreneur Sir James Dyson has contacted the Prime Minister via WhatsApp to seek tax assurances if his Singapore-based employees travelled to the UK to build ventilators for the NHS at the heart of the pandemic. Mr. Cummings also denied being responsible for the leaks surrounding England's second lockdown last autumn, instead blaming Henry Newman, an aide to Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove and close friend of Carrie Simons, the Prime Minister's fiancée. The former number 10 employee claimed Mr. Johnson attempted to block a leak inquiry for fear of a fallout with his partner. The Cabinet Secretary told the PM that the leak was neither me nor the then Director of Communications and that all the evidence definitely leads to Henry Newman. Mr. Cummings wrote, "The PM was very upset about this. He said to me afterwards, if Newman is confirmed as the leaker then I will have to fire him, and this will cause me very serious problems with Carrie as their best friends." Pause. Perhaps we could get the Cabinet Secretary to stop the leak inquiry. Mr. Cummings claimed he told the Prime Minister such a move would be mad and totally unethical. The former Vote Leave chief has long been critical of Ms. Simons' influence over Mr. Johnson and was sacked from Downing Street last November after a power struggle in number 10. Mr. Cummings was accused of deliberately feeding the media stories about the Prime Minister's fiancée. His departure last year was seen as a chance to reset Johnson's leadership as public confidence in his handling of the pandemic and Brexit sunk. On his blog, Mr. Cummings also said he was not responsible for leaks over the cost of refurbishing Johnson's residence. Questions have been raised over who has funded the redecoration. There have been reports that the lavish overhaul of the flat, overseen by Ms. Simons, has run to £200,000. Normally, Prime Ministers receive an annual allowance of up to £30,000 to contribute to the costs of maintaining and furnishing the residency. It had been claimed Mr. Johnson was seeking to get Conservative Party donors to cover the cost. Mr. Cummings supported the accusations in his blog, writing, "The PM stopped speaking to me about this matter in 2020 as I told him I thought his plans to have donors secretly pay for the renovation were unethical, foolish, possibly illegal and almost certainly broke the rules on proper disclosure of political donations if conducted in the way he intended. I refuse to help him organize these payments. My knowledge about them is therefore limited." Boris Johnson met the cost of revamping his official Downing Street flat out of his own pocket, the government said today. It has refused to comment on the other accusations made by Mr. Cummings. However, former Conservative leader Lord Hague has said number 10 will soon need to address the claims made by Mr. Cummings. He told Times Radio, "If all of these things were true, they would be damaging to anybody, including a Prime Minister. But number 10 will no doubt have to give their account of all of these events and I'm sure there will be another side to the argument. So at this point where it just came out, bear in mind, we've only heard one half of this at the moment."